Congratulations to the Texas Rangers on their first World Series in franchise history. Red Sox, take notes. The Texas Rangers have won the World Series, defeating the Arizona Diamondbacks in 5 games, and for Red Sox fans, it should be an important study in how to run a team trying to compete to win the Fall Classic. Now let's start with, first of all, spending money. You look at a couple off seasons ago, the Rangers, in the doldrums of the AFC West in the basement for years, decided to invest over $500 million in Corey Seager and Marcus Semien to shore up the middle of their infield. Following that, they invested in pitching, adding guys like Nate Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer at the trade deadline, Jordan Montgomery at the trade deadline. There were a lot of acquisitions that they made to try and bolster what they believe to be the weak points of their roster. Their defense improved, their pitching improved, their hitting definitely improved, and they mashed their way to a World Series title. Obviously, not all the signings were home runs. I mean, they did sign Cole Calhoun in that offseason as well. They added John Gray, who wasn't a major part of this World Series team, but still came in when they needed him in Game 3 and performed. But the point being, the Rangers brass, the Rangers front office, were willing to invest in this team to accomplish their goal. They came so close in 2011, coming a strike away twice before eventually getting undone and losing to the Cardinals in a miraculous 7-game series for St. Louis. They said, no, we're going to go for it this time. We believe that we have the group in front of us to make a run, and they invested. Simple as that. Yes, a bevy of free agent signings did boost the Rangers' World Series quest, but it wasn't just because of that. They also had a bunch of young guys who came in and made impacts at the big league level. Look no further than Evan Carter, a 21-year-old who debuted late this season, batting third on a World Series winning team. He had a great eye, a good outfield glove, and he paid dividends for the Rangers, who called him up late in the year. Jonah Heim, Josh Jung, these other guys who were in contention for AL Rookie of the Year, these guys made impacts. The Red Sox have impact prospects in the minors. You can have that balance where you can go and spend, you can also have the youth infusion, and oftentimes the best mixes of those two really are what come together to make winning teams. The Red Sox have not had that necessarily in the last couple of years. They've had a lot of very old guys that you sign to 1 or 2 year deals, even if they perform well, like Justin Turner, and then not enough impact from the young guys, even if they've gotten large chances to prove themselves. Tristan Casas, Brian Bale, I bring them up a lot. They're the ones who have shown it. Willie Abreu didn't look terrible towards the end of last year. We need to see more from them. Let's talk about some key decision makers. Chris Young was a pitcher for years in baseball. He's 44 now, obviously just won the World Series as the head guy for the Rangers. Guess what? Kind of similar to Craig Breslow, right? Breslow was a pitcher in the league for over a decade. He's a real young guy when it comes to being in the executive ranks, and he's now being tasked with leading the Red Sox. Maybe Breslow can learn from Chris Young. They both have the Ivy League background. It'll be interesting to see if he can try and mirror Young's path towards becoming a World Series winner. But it's not just the executives. The managers are also kind of similar. Bruce Bochy is about as old school as they come. He's now won, I think, 14 of his last 15 or 15 of his last 16 postseason series, and he's got 4 World Series rings, tied for 4th all time. Alex Cora, well, he uses analytics, I would say probably a little bit more than Bochy. He definitely falls into the camp of kind of managing by the feel and seeing what he likes, who's rolling that given night. He's not going to be staying strictly to the spreadsheet all the time. The Red Sox have made it clear that they're hitching their wagon to Cora for the foreseeable future by keeping him around through a 3rd baseball executive change up at the top. So it's up to him to recapture that 2018 magic and lead the Red Sox back to the promised land. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Just how wacky of a sport baseball truly is. You've had 9 different teams win the World Series in the past 10 seasons, with the Astros being the only team who have won it more than once, and they won it 5 years apart. It's hard to get to the top of the mountain in baseball, we get it, it's very fluky, no matter how many chances you try and give yourselves. Look at the Dodgers. But guess what? There is some merit in saying, hey, if we can just get into the dance, we can make a run. Look at the Braves 2 seasons ago, when they had, I think, 88 wins or something like that, 91 wins, and they went and won the World Series. The Phillies the next year, they didn't have a very great team. They were the last team into the wild card. They upset Albert Pujols, Adam Wainwright, and Yadier Molina's swan song with the Cardinals. Then they went and beat the Braves and the Padres before eventually falling to Houston in the World Series. The Arizona Diamondbacks are another great example. I mean, they had 84 wins. They were the last team of all 12 in terms of record to make it into the big dance. They made it 3 wins away from a World Series because they got hot at the right time. You look at the past couple of trade deadlines for the Red Sox, and it's my biggest gripe with Chaim Bloom. It felt as if he didn't think that this team was worthy of winning the World Series, so he said, screw it, I'm just going to go and wait for next year. That's just not how it works in baseball. I think we've seen enough of that to know that things can go topsy-turvy 6 ways from Sunday, and you could find yourself at the top with a ring. Just look at a decade ago with the 2013 Sox. I hope that Craig Breslow realizes this, recognizes it, and tries to go and improve upon it in his tenure with the Red Sox. I want him to go and invest in the trade deadline, especially the last couple of seasons when the team was middling, kind of on the fence as to whether or not they would go and advance to the playoffs, and Chaim Bloom said, no, it's not worth it. Let's just try and pack it up and prepare for 2025, 2026, looking way down the road. I understand that not everything is going to be a quick fix when it comes to these Red Sox, but you got to start somewhere, right? I want them to invest, even if it's getting a guy with multiple years of control down the line at this year's trade deadline. I don't even know who that would be, but you can use that and parlay it into next year, because frankly, I want these guys to play meaningful September baseball. It gives them experience, and it could get them to October, and then even more experience that way. There's a lot of things that the Red Sox can take from the Rangers World Series, especially, let's not ignore the obvious. The Red Sox punted on Nate Eovaldi to go and sign Corey Kluber and Kenley Jansen. And nothing against Kenley, he's been great. Kluber was terrible. But you look at what a big game pitcher like Nate Eovaldi does. The guy had 5 wins this October, and he was dynamite for Texas. You knew when he was going into Houston for these big games, when his team had to have wins, you were pretty confident in him. At least I was. I knew that he was going to get the job done because we've seen him do it time and time again. And you said, no, I don't need that. Why take the proven track record? Let me just go and sign a guy who's 36 and ready to fall off a cliff, or however old Corey Kluber is. Bottom line, nutshell, the Red Sox have to be ready to invest in this team this offseason. They've already had a lot of fans disinterested, apathetic to what they've been doing the last couple of seasons, and they have to figure it out. Look no further than the newly anointed champs of Major League Baseball as a blueprint for how to succeed in the modern age. I'm Jeremy. Thank you guys for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff. We will see you again next week. Might have some baseball wish lists for free agents that we want the Red Sox to get. Might do some Patriot stuff. We'll see. Anyways, have a good one, everybody. I'll see you again next time. Peace.